due to the graphic nature of this videotape. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ugly tornado.
Seeing a tornado can be almost a cosmic experience, like something out of science fiction. Nothing that large and that powerful should be loose and on the prowl. At least, not on this planet. Tornadoes or twisters continue to rage on the Fury Plain and past the turn of the century.
I'm definitely trying to get something rooting in the boundary layer here. Bigger. Nickel.
Part of our weather to this very day. On May 31st of 2013, Friday evening in central Oklahoma experienced what would be known as the largest tornado in the history of tornadoes. The El Reno tornado of 2013.
Here it comes. That is it right there. That's definitely it. That's... How... Oh, man. Look at that, Dad. You see that?
This is the most infamous tornado, since it's the very first tornado to have killed 4 storm chasers among the multiple civilians.
Yep. That's the monster.
20 persons were killed during this tornado. 4 were storm chasers. 5 remained unidentified to this day.
Yeah, we're looking right at it. Ryan would be freaking out right now.
The fact the most significant storm chasers were at this exact tornado and tried to research it until it became erratic and took their lives. Which sits with why the El Reno tornado of 2013 is the most infamous tornado. This exact tornado was formed by a supercell, a storm or thunderstorm with updrafts rotating around the vertical axis. This is caused by wind shear and a mesocyclone, simply consistent updrafts of strong winds. When warm air from the updraft meets the cool, moist air from the downdraft, it creates a rotating wall cloud descending to forming a tornado. These supercell storms appear a lot in the tornado alley in the United States quite commonly. When the tornado hit, its peak it reached the record-holding 2.6 miles wide. That is 0.3 miles wider than Manhattan, New York. Such a tornado like El Reno would completely wipe out the entire Manhattan skyline and could even damage New England to major recovery. The Bridge Creekmore tornado that hit Oklahoma City, Oklahoma on May the 3rd of 1999. The wind speeds for this tornado were recorded at a whopping 301 and plus 20 miles per hour by a Doppler on wheels radar.
Is what we have the storm tracker set for.
Look how big this thing is, guys.
Rainy. On I-35 of Norman. Yeah. Raining. It's very cloudy. They are northwest. This is Rick Mitchell. This is you, I believe. That's the second F5. And it went got an F5.
The wind is now blowing out of the east. We don't have any rain.
During this tornado, it was a quarter-mile and a mile-wide wedge. Remember, this is the Bridge Creek Moor tornado's width, which was dynamic in itself.
And any damage that you're aware of?
Right in the town. Not any damage.
These storms are moving into the metro area. We're going to have a that shot. Look at the debris. Look at all the debris. Look at all
Here
the
we can
debris
see the
in the air.
news coverage of that exact day in 1999,
Absolutely
impending in an unbelievable amount of speed and debris all over the place.
Possibly can.
The Bridge Creek Moor tornado of 1999 is the strongest and also the last F5 tornado of the 20th century.
Get in the bathtub. We plead with you. There it is crossing Interstate 35. There is a tremendous amount of debris in the air. We pray and plead with you, please get down now. If you're I-35, get out of your car. If you're east of I-35 over to Kicker Air Force Base, please, we plead with you, go to your safe spot now. Take your radio. Forget the live pictures. Go get safe. Oh, my gosh. 89? South 89? Folks, we plead with you, just go to your safe spot if you possibly can. That's an F. Look at the horizontal.
These speeds are scientific proof even speeds as close to Jupiter's the Great Red Spot can be found here on Earth. Jupiter's Great Red Spot has never been visually observed by NASA or scientists yet with the latest technology. However, we can determine the Great Red Spot is at least 300 miles per hour. This giant spinning storm on this gas giant is like a hurricane, and albeit it is not one of Earth's storms, we can use this as an example to measure strong tornadoes, like the Bridge Creek Moor and especially the El Reno. The El Reno tornado of 2013 was recorded to be the second highest, right behind the Bridge Creek Moor with a shocking estimate of 302 miles per hour by the time of 5:30 p.m. through 6:02 p.m. Air sirens raided the Oklahoman ambience with warnings of an impending tornado. The first funnel hit the ground, indicating to those witnessing it start up. This would be an extremely dangerous multi-vortex tornado. Multi-vortex tornadoes can create multiple twisters known as subvortices, which are in the tornado and go around the main vortex. When merged together, these can form the tornado to become a wedge tornado, typical in Oklahoma and Tornado Alley. A tornado will head northeast, but for the El Reno tornado, it started southeast instead, a sign for an erratic tornado to come. Erratic tornadoes are worse due to their unpredictable nature, as well as their shift in direction on the path it's on. In the El Reno's case, it was enough for most storm chasers to scramble as far away from this one. Only a mile wide in 7 minutes, and the El Reno is only getting started to its fullest width.
See that?
Yes, multi-vortex. Multi-vortex, baby.
This was the reason storm chasers on that day decided to scramble away from its pathway, an erratic multi-vortex tornado with impending strength. The El Reno tornado was also clouded in heavy rainstorms, which can make a tornado as impossible to see like a nocturnal tornado. Since this tornado took place around the times of 6:03 p.m. to 6:43 p.m., this can be considered to be a nocturnal tornado as well. Despite it was already hard seeing the tornado with rain coating it all around. The Weather Channel were on the scene and headed south on 81 to evade the tornado itself, only to have their vehicles hit by one of El Reno's subvortices.
Hold on, brother. Hold on. Everybody jump, go, go, go.
One of these vehicles took off as if it were an aircraft. It sped off hundreds of yards from where they were on the road. There were 3 passengers in the vehicle. Amazingly, they all survived the tragic accident. Simultaneous to the Weather Channel, another group of storm chasers known as Twistex, whom appeared on Storm Chasers. Their intention was to deploy Tim Samaras' handmade circular pods to record and measure this tornado, but scratched the idea when they realized the tornado's behavior became erratic. In their 2009 Chevy Cobalt, with photographer Paul Samaras and meteorologist Carl Young, were led by Tim Samaras in the passenger seat of the car. They were around the northern edge of the tornado. Originally, they wanted to deploy their pods around Highway 81, but the El Reno tornado approached Highway 81 and was catching up behind them, and many civilians as well. They persisted on Ryder Road. Unfortunately, they were killed by one of El Reno's subvortices only 2 miles within. They did record this entire experience. However, the footage will not be released out of respect for the families. Yet there is a transcription an unnamed storm chaser gave of Twistex and the late trio's way of evading the El Reno. On Ryder Road, Carl Young can be heard observing the tornado. Okay, here we go. Should get a view of it again. Samaras would say in return, looks like it's pretty well rain-wrapped now. In fact, it's hard to tell what the hell it's doing now. Probably just a gigantic wedge. We can't see it anymore. Okay, stop sign up here. Later adding with, I see it. The team continued to push with tracking the El Reno tornado, even if their Cobalt got shuttered by blasts of wind. What a beast. We're just doing everything we can to keep up with this thing. Samaras said, yeah, so we're probably going to have Cross 81. If this road is good, continuing and then try and drop down. If we've got some viable roads. As the tornado kept pushing forth, Twistex would observe the tornado hitting a range, as Samaras said. This thing is moving 40 miles an hour, 30 to 40 miles an hour to the east. The winds kept rising and towing the car like a loose tooth off the road. The rain would dissipate from what Young would say. There's no rain around here. And also said, now I see it. Well, maybe I don't. Samaras' final reply before the camcorder cut off was, it's like a bunch of rain here. In fact, keep going. This is a very bad spot. Oklahoma Highway Patrol Trooper Betsy Randolph heard them on her radio scanner screaming, we're going to die. We're going to die. She even added on top of hearing their true last words before death on El Reno's path. There was just no place to go. There was no place to hide. At the same time, as Twistex only 28 seconds ahead, a fellow storm chaser named Dan Robinson was actually ahead of the exact Chevy Cobalt that was of Twistex. He did confirm he captured it on his rear-view camcorder, but will not release it out of respect for the family. He did, however, manage to photograph the tornado at its peak and got hit in the left eyelash by hail larger than a baseball at one point. He managed to even capture his entire experience, both front and rear view camcorders, to document the El Reno tornado of 2013. Another storm chaser who was on the scene was a man named Richard Charles Henderson. He shot this exact photo and sent it at 6:05 p.m. to his friend George Sonny Slay, minutes before the El Reno tornado took his own life. His own friend would hear noises on the phone call to Henderson. Slay would say the following to Henderson: "You better quit that." He also said, "You better get your ass out of there." Afterwards, Henderson's phone cut off. Henderson was sucked out of his pickup truck and was thrown out into the tornado debris. His parents said that his vehicle was as clean as if it came off the showroom. Everything was out of it. Henderson is survived by his two sons to this day. Apart from El Reno being a multi-vortex tornado, it also had a rare tornado known as a satellite tornado. These will revolve around the main tornado, like the moon revolving and rotating around Earth. A satellite tornado will revolve and rotate around the main tornado until it dissipates completely within the storm's unfolding. In the El Reno tornado's case, one being the multi-vortex wedge and two the satellite tornado, making this one extremely complex and a rare kind of deadly tornadoes we've seen on this very planet.
it. There comes the breeze.
And on 29, on top of the Reno, off of my north.
Here comes lots of debris.
It's coming off the airport.
Dude, that's another tornado. Is that a tornado or is that...
That's a straight line wind. That's RMD. Okay, get us out of here. Dude, get us out of here. South. And yes, you were right. That was another tornado. Now it's RMD. Look at what I see in front of us. Satellite. Is this all RMD? Yeah, whoa. Stop it, please. Do something you can. Okay, we're clear. Let's go. Look at the radar. The radar's fried. Oh my God.
Okay, I've had my fun for the day.
Get around this power line real quick and get clear.
Oh my God. Oh my God, look. Look. Wedge. Yeah.
Turn around then. Turn around. Holy shit.
Welcome back to Dave Planner. We've been telling you this breaking news out of Oklahoma regarding the El Reno, Oklahoma tornado. We've learned that the tornado has been rated an EF5, meaning winds exceeding 200 miles per hour. Our severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes, joins us now for an analysis. And Greg, usually we get a rating from storm damage, but that wasn't necessarily the case with this one.
In this case, it was one of those very highly high-resolution mobile Doppler radars that was following this, operated by the University of Oklahoma, and so that was able to determine the extreme wind speeds within that. I have Nick Wilson here with me. Nick was listening to the news conference, so we'll ask him some questions momentarily. What this means, though, is that at 2.6 miles wide and at rating EF5, it now had wind speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour. We had seen this on Friday, the wide debris ball of this. The debris ball itself had been 2.6 miles wide, as I had measured that evening. Sometimes, though, that is not all tornado, but in this case, you can see the massive winds, of which were partly tornado and partly thunderstorm, were even wider than the debris ball itself. I'll put back the regular way that we see the radar. And so all of this has been determined, all of this debris ball here has been determined to be tornadoes. The Mike Bettis and the tornado hunt team were here as they began to try to flee from it, but it was just too wide, and the tornado made a sudden turn to the northeast and caught the Twistex team, Tim Samaras and his chasers. At 2.6 miles wide, this is the widest known tornado in the United States history.
No wonder then that the chasers were unable to get out of its way. It accelerated a little bit. It had extreme winds within it, and it was exceedingly wide, much, much wider than just about anyone had previously experienced. The previous tornado record was 2.5 miles wide, a Hallam, Nebraska tornado, May 22nd, 2004. Nick, you were listening to the news conference, the mention of multiple funnels. That is what has helped raise the EF scale.
Right. There were several sub-vortices around the main funnel, and that's where some of the highest winds were. Rick Smith, the one coordination meteorologist at Norman, said that there were measurements of at least 295 mile-per-hour winds on several occasions in several different places, and those were less than 500 feet above the ground, which gave them very high confidence that it was not only an EF5 tornado, but on the high end of EF5.
And the previous record for a wind speed was 301 miles per hour, plus or minus about 20 miles per hour. In the previous Moore 1999 tornado, that one was about 50 feet or so above ground. So above the ground, the winds are a little bit faster, typically due to friction, than they are right at the ground. And you had seen us talking about those multiple funnels. You saw us showing video of that. And those are tornadoes within a tornado. They have their own rotation. They revolve, as Nick was saying, at very fast speeds. If the parent tornado was about 185 mile per hour winds, then those multiple funnels embedded within that would revolve about the tornado about that speed, and then add 50 to 100 mile per hour, in this case, about 100 mile per hour winds to that parent tornado. So we believe that our tornado hunt team was hit by one of those, one of the three vehicles, causing it to be demolished. That may have also been the case for somewhat the hit or miss nature of some of the other chasers that were caught in this tornado, some faring much more poorly. Of course, we know there were 3 fatalities of our chaser colleagues there. So it was a dangerous tornado, a record width tornado, now known to be an EF5 tornado in those embedded multiple what we call suction vortices with their own low pressure, their own inflow, their own fast rotating winds, and moving at such a fast rate, 180 miles per hour. The tornado itself only about 20 miles per hour, and so it was virtually impossible to get out of the way of one of those individual multiple vortices. Our hearts go out to all those who suffered from this tornado.
Yeah, this is certainly kind of a little bit of a buzz in the meteorology world. It just happened the other day. But initially, you know, it was a damage rating of EF3. Yeah. Then from the mobile Doppler radars that they had out there, and they saw the winds, which are going to show us in a minute, we jacked it up to EF5 because of the incredible wind they found now, just over the past several days, has been pushed back down to EF3. Of course, is this just simply a case of, look, we're using the damage scale as a damage scale, regardless of what we find on these winds on the route, around the radar?
Yeah, that's basically it. The National Weather Service policy is to use damage in rating of the tornadoes, and as you say, the initial rating they came out with right after the fact, looking at the damage survey, was EF3. We're seeing some of that damage here. The home here is pretty much collapsed. That's going to certainly get you into EF3. They'll look at the strength of the structure, how well it was built, to see if that might have been an EF4. The issue was that then after the fact, they've got information that, well, the mobile Doppler radars were seeing winds aloft that were way above that EF3 range. They were seeing above 200 miles per hour, which is the limit for the EF5 rating. And
right, for our viewers at home, this kind of looks like a hurricane.
Yeah, these tornadoes in these up-close and personal mobile Doppler research radars definitely look like mini hurricanes with little eyes right where the tornado is. This one actually has a satellite
Due to the amount of damage that was around that entire supercell tornado, it was downgraded from an EF5 to an EF3 rating on the enhanced Fujita scale. However, Oklahomans strongly disagreed it to be an EF3. There are Oklahomans and many citizens outside of Oklahoma believe the El Reno tornado of 2013 should be reclassified back as an EF5, for as Rick Smith, a warning coordination meteorologist, has said, this tornado was among a super rare category within the EF5 rating.
And we don't know how to do that. We've seen some tornadoes that tear sod right out of the ground, so the winds go all the way to the ground. We see others where it takes the roof off, maybe takes the building, but leaves a flower pot sitting in the front porch. So we don't know how to scale from 300 feet down to the ground very perfectly.
Let's look at the video of what that radar was looking at, and you could actually see these multiple vortices.
Yeah, it starts out there as one big wide tornado a bit on the broad side, But then at times, like some of these will do, it breaks down into multiple tornadoes there. We call them suction vortices. They revolve about the parent tornado. They have their own low pressure, their own counterclockwise rotation, and they may be traveling more than 100 miles per hour as they're steered around that parent tornado. So the fastest winds come with those, and we believe that that is what is likely to have hit Mike Bettis' vehicle as well as Tim Samaras' vehicle, and probably the strongest velocities were in those.
But we still can't use cars as a good damage indicator.
Yeah, history has shown that cars, vehicles behave much differently. It may again have to do with how fast or slowly the winds accelerate as you get right down toward the ground. So sometimes the cars are not good indicators of the tornado wind speed.
But the data can't be ignored. EF5 with an asterisk, maybe?
Yeah, I think I'd probably go EF5 with an asterisk, but for now the National Weather Service is reassessing how to use Doppler radar data.
Good stuff, Forbes. We appreciate that.
Ugly tornado. There goes. Look at that. Jesus. Man. Holy hell. Alright, this is going to get really ugly really fast here. Stop and take some pictures. The multiple vortex tornado was moving faster now, growing in size, and while tailgating a line of other vehicles, I calculated a direct hit. So I whipped the car around and headed back west. Blue down rolling sideways, and there's a tornado next to me. People are going to die today. It might be me. That's a massive tornado right there. It's wrapped in rain. Here we're blasting east, trying to catch up to the monster, which is now making a hard left turn. But I had to stop and help a panicked woman standing in the road.
Just like a bomb. My house is over by the airport. My husband is there. I'm here babysitting my grandkids.
Yep, I sure did. What's your phone number?
It's 918.
Hold on, here we call. Hang on. You're fine. Everything's fine.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
918.
918.
This clip reveals man's best friend's internal struggle between loyalty and self-preservation.
Get into shelter. Do you have shelter here?
We've got a storm door with no door on
The
it.
worst is past. Get in it. Your phone isn't working?
Oh my God.
Everything's fine.
The house is right across the street from the airport. It's my house.
It happened right next to you. You're fine.
Okay.
Well, the phone is ringing, so here, I gotta roll up the window so you're getting.
At this point, the tornado is at peak width, a 2.6 mile wide EF5, the widest tornado ever recorded.
Oh my God. That looks like either a large cone or maybe even a stovepipe on the ground. moving southeast. Southeast. About to cross that road that we're on here.
What do we need to do?
We're in good position. Still on the ground down there. Yeah, oh yeah, that's it. It's on the southern periphery of the huge mezzo here, man. There it is. Wow! Wow! Happy vortex again.
We're about to get rain.
We're good, we're good. Don't get wrapped in rain. Come on, buddy, get out of the way. We'll reposition our feet back.